Hello, and welcome to Save Your Bacon, advice comedy podcast where we think we're helping. My name is Will.
And my name is Zane, and just to show how much we care, we have paper master's degrees and therapy taped loosely to our walls so you can tell we're both professional and self-sufficient.
That's true, Zane. Hey, last week we asked a question, or more I did, based on the issues that I was having in my own personal life outside of the podcast with a prank that I had pulled that went too far when I threw a large amount of glitter in somebody's house before running away. I don't know if I said exactly what it was last week, but That was it. It wasn't cool or funny or anything, but that's what I did, and I asked for feedback, and we got some. I actually got a piece of feedback that says, advise for the prank, keep prancing until she realizes that the only way to stop it is for her to prank back. There are a couple of typos in this, and I'm not here to
prancing.
be the grammar warden, but pranking. I mean, I definitely read it as prancing the first 4 times I read through it until I realized that they were saying pranking. Keep pranking until they realize that the only way to stop is for her to prank back. What do you think of that?
I think it's more important to keep on prancing. You got to keep your spirits high during these rough times.
Just keep prancing through it, man. Prance the haters away.
Yeah, I was going to say keep prancing is probably good advice for any situation. Also, if you want a question for people to give advice on at the beginning of next episode, here's one. After this podcast is recorded, I'm going to go out into what is known as one of the biggest snowstorms of this century or whatever.
Oh, is it really bad where you are?
It's going on everywhere and it's terrible, and apparently there are
here.
warnings to stay inside, etc., etc. I'm going to go out and I'm going to film a auto-generated, internet-generated script made by DCI Zack Snyder, that is Detective Chief Inspector Zack Snyder, about a hungry ghost that can only die by paperweights and guns. What's your advice on how to survive this snowstorm? Speaking of questions I gotta know the answer to, I've got a great question for you, Will.
Yeah, let's help someone.
This is very important. This comes from a Yahoo person. They are anonymous, and the question is, will GameStop track me down? Or will the police come and find me? So I was at a wrestling tournament, and when the matches started, I was working concessions. When I noticed something on the stairs, I went up to it, and it was an iPhone. I waited for someone to come back, but no one did. After the tournament, I went to GameStop and sold it.
Oh my god!
If they deactivate the phone, will GameStop or the police pursue me?
There's so many criminals in this story. The first criminal is the owner of the iPod, or was it iPhone?
It's iPhone.
I don't know why I thought it was an iPod. Nobody uses iPods. The owner of the iPhone is a criminal for not going back and getting the iPhone. The second
leaving
criminal
it on them stairs.
The second set of criminals is all the people who did not use the Find My Friends app and just find the phone that way. Third criminal, you, question asker. You are the third criminal because you said, well, that's that, and didn't try to put it on some Facebook Marketplace. You went straight to, and that's not why you're a criminal. You're a criminal because you brought it to GameStop.
This is the important thing about this question to
You
me.
took an iPhone and thought the best place to turn it in was GameStop.
Was a place that only sells games.
Video games.
You
exactly.
walked into a place that says, "Hi, we sell all kinds of video games," and you
that
said,
aren't phones. A bunch
said,
of video games, and the common denominator of all those video games is that they're not iPhones.
You said, "Hi, video game store. Take my
this
phone."
No, take someone else's
Take
phone.
someone else's phone.
The last criminal is the GameStop employee who looked at
taking
you
it.
in the eyes and said, yeah, I'll do that. And probably took $50 out of his pocket and handed it to you and did who knows what with it. That man did not act as a GameStop representative. And that's not coming from somebody who's worked at a GameStop, because I haven't. I just know that you can't walk into a GameStop and just say, here's some random iPhone that I can't and you can't unlock. Please give me something for it. And the dude probably handed you a counterfeit 100 and called it a day.
This story has so much to unravel, and the biggest thing is how this man managed to walk into a GameStop with an iPhone and out of a GameStop successfully without an iPhone and extra money.
Yeah, right? even when people go on like marketplaces like Craigslist or like I said, like Facebook marketplaces, somebody's just like, here's an iPhone I can't unlock. How much do you want to give me for it? People immediately are like, you should really find out whose that is. I think that what this really goes down to, this person is worried because their days of phone thievery and being in a gang, and this person who works at Mafia being part of the same Mafia gang as them might be coming to an end, and they want to know by whose hands are it coming down, or are they getting punished by. So they said the cops, and what was the other group that they were going to possibly get targeted by?
GameStop itself.
No.
GameStop or police.
GameStop doesn't know that they have an iPhone, because they don't. Employee named Andy has some iPhone. There's just some dude named Andy or some person who's part of your crime syndicate who has the iPhone that you got for $80. That's all this story is.
What if there's a long con here? Like in Dumb and Dumber with the briefcase and this whole thing that's going down. What if somebody left the iPhone for someone else to pick up and sell at a GameStop? But this man happened to intervene and sell it at a GameStop. But the man behind the counter is like, this specific person, we want his iPhone. And they thought they got his iPhone, but they got the other guy's iPhone. And now when he looks at the iPhone, he's going to be like, wait a minute, this isn't the guy who sold it to me's phone. Now I got to track him down. And then that's how the whole movie unravels. And then Kevin Bacon's in it.
Yeah, two theories. It could be that this GameStop employee saw a way to be a better detective. He only is working at GameStop while going to detective school. Bought the phone and decided, I have to track down by wholesome means whose iPhone this is, and bought it in order to start a quest. The second idea is that Andy, the clerk at GameStop, was the person who lost the phone, and really nobody's going to chase you down. All you did was return the phone.
Whoa, what if it was his phone? But he doesn't know that it was the guy's phone. And so now he's going to work for the rest of however long, though.
Because if somebody came and tried to sell me my own phone, I'd be like, yeah, I'll buy this phone off of you. And just to let them have a little bit of guilt for the idea of trying to sell it.
But you'd pay to get your own phone back? You wouldn't be like, that's my phone.
It's like a ransom. It's like a hostage situation.
Please give me back my phone. I will only give you $60.
You can only have your beloved phone back if you hand me $100 in this anonymous Dropbox. Yeah, I think that pretty much sells it, though. Those are all really the only things I could think of. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody really cares unless you put your thumbprint into the how to log in to the iPhone. I don't think there's any incriminating data that you probably left on the phone, so you're good, man.
I've got another question. This comes from Reddit user Max13811. And the question is, no context. If I punch myself in the face and it hurts, am I weak or strong?
Zane, no matter who you are, if you get punched in the face, and it hurts, is that person strong?
The person that punched me, are they strong or am I weak? In general?
Yeah. No. Like, is a person strong if they punch you and it hurts?
Are we saying, are they punching me with their fists? Are they punching me with some good brass knucks? Are they punching me...
This is your fists.
You got to get into very specifics. All right, let's say a stick figure punches me and it hurts. I promise you it's because I'm weak. I promise you it's because I'm weak.
So it depends on the person who's punching you over whether it's... Okay, so if
no matter who punches me, I'm weak.
So that's just a you thing.
Yeah.
But Max, okay, that's not helpful. Because I'm thinking, if a person punches me and it doesn't hurt, I feel pretty good. So he's saying I have to be more strong than I am tough. Because the question, yeah, right? Okay, so he's more strong than he is tough because it hurts. But does that mean that he is strong or is he weak?
Let's push this to its extremes, all right? Because that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Let's say he's like a world-renowned champion boxer, UFC fighter, whatever you want. Pay-per-view matches, sold-out arena. Everybody loves this guy. Everybody's going to go to see him fight. Catch is, his opponent is himself.
Yeah.
He's in the octagon or whatever he's in. bada boom, just by himself. If he knocks himself out cold in one little swoop, does he win or lose? Does he get paid for winning or losing? Does the crowd cheer or boo?
I would cheer.
You would cheer?
I think everybody would be very hyped about that. I mean, they paid to see an entire fight, and so that's kind of a disappointment. I think that's always what happens. Like, that's why you don't really buy the tickets for the boxing matches that you know are gonna be over super quick, because it's gonna be like 30 seconds you paid a bunch of money for. So that would be kind of disappointing, but man, that would be hype if one person walked into the ring, punched himself, knocked himself out, and that was it. I think it would go to show that boxers are always stronger than they are tough.
This is true.
I think that pretty much sums it up universally, don't you think?
I would think so. I like to think, though, if the person if they punch themselves and they're asking are they strong or weak, that they don't have any weaponry in their hands. This is full-on fist-to-face action, right?
Yeah.
This is knucks to jaw right here. Gonna break his jaw. If he breaks his jaw, I would say that he is weak, because he is physically broken.
He's just weak-jawed.
I feel like he is weak-jawed, as the layman says. And then if he just gets hurt, I think he's strong.
Really? Because that's the exact opposite, I would think.
I think if he breaks, he's weak.
Like you're just breaking the person.
If he physically breaks,
if I punch myself
he's weak.
and I break myself while doing it, if you break both your hand and your jaw at the same time, I would call you weak.
About that.
You would be weak. Okay, so you punch yourself. You break all of the bones in your knuckles and fingers and hand bones and jaw, and your jaw is just slack on one side. You got teeth falling out. I would say that you're very weak, but also very... Dang it! You could also be very strong.
This is a hard one now. I love this theory. If both your hand that punches you breaks and you break, are you then weak because all of you has shattered, or are you so strong that you have shattered all of yourself?
I mean, to be realistic, you have to be very strong to just break somebody's jaw in one punch.
That's true. All right, now it all comes down to are your bones made of, bone, or are they made of glass?
I think we'd have to have some givens here and say that their bones are made of glass.
That's
the obvious case here. I think that has to be what we go with.
Then clearly they're strong, because glass is pretty tough.
It is. When it's really that thick, it's still pretty hard to break. So congratulations. You're more strong than you are weak, it seems. So my next question. This comes in from Maddie Borner. Thank you, Maddie Borner, for being a proud supporter of our show. Maddie Borner had a couple questions that she sent in to us. First one. Which one of you would make a better president solely based on your taste in Netflix shows?
Better president?
Yep. Of the United States, solely based on your taste in Netflix shows. And I'm gonna broaden this. I'm gonna say all TV shows, because I don't really watch that much Netflix anymore.
I have a very strong problem saying that I loved House of Cards. That has already put me near a very bottom tier list here. But also I fancy Sherlock a lot. So I know think you do. It'd be hard for me not to be the better president, because
Dang.
I would deduce the shit out of this world.
And that's what would make you a good president. I think you would probably win. The two shows that I've been watching a lot of are really just the shows that I watch with my buddy Daryl. And we just watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Forged in Fire. Do you know what Forged in Fire is?
No.
It's a History Channel show about like blacksmiths that come on, and they just make like weapons in really small time restraints, and it's wildly entertaining, but it wouldn't make me a good president, I'll say that.
So, my qualifications for presidency.
President shows. But okay, to be fair though, a show about how to be a really bad president.
A show how to be a very
corrupt president.
Good politician. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Plus, the best detective in the entire world. Will's credentials.
Blacksmithing. And being a bad cop.
If you gained the abilities of Terry Crews, then I'd want you to be president.
Then you'd want me to be more likely to be president. Yeah, that's fair. I would agree with that. I watch it just for Terry Crews. That was easy.
What about SpongeBob? Where does that put me?
You watch that much SpongeBob right now?
Yeah, I never stopped.
Like right now?
Yeah. I guess, no, you know what? That'd make me a good president because that means I'm always ready and I always get to work and I love work.
Dang, dude.
Mm.
That went deep. Oh, yeah, she actually sent in another one kind of about that, but we'll have to get to that later. Your turn, Zane.
This is a very important question to me, Will. It comes from Reddit user FurriesRUs14. And the question is, how did the elephant get in the room? This is the whole thing?
I mean,
no context.
That's it? That's the whole question?
Yep.
I mean,
you
that
know when
is...
people say there's an elephant in the room? How did it get there?
I mean, the whole idea of the elephant being in the room is kind of the issue in and of itself, right? Because you're like, man, there sure is an elephant in the room. How'd it get there, huh?
But it took time. It took tactics, you know? Like, you can't fit through the front door. Someone had to break a wall to get that elephant in there.
Okay, that's how I've always thought about grand pianos and homes. Did they just, like, build half a home, put the piano in, and then build the other half of the home?
Look at it this way. There's an elephant outside your house. Obviously. That's where it's got to be before it gets inside the house.
You turn around. Look at your computer screen. You turn around again. It's inside the home. How did it get there?
It did it on its own.
It did it on its own.
Within a second. If I look out my door and I see, oh, there's an elephant outside my door.
Look
and
back
I look back
at your
at
computer
you, and then I
screen.
look back and I say, whoa.
Here it is.
There's an elephant in the room.
There really is an elephant in the room now, yeah. How did it get in there?
People like to address the elephant in the room, but I like to address the fact that it made it into the room successfully, both fitting through the doorway and without me hearing it.
Isn't it some folklore that elephants are incredibly quiet?
There's folklore that they're terrified of mice. I know that much. There's also folklore that they can fly with their ears.
Yeah.
Within a confined space, if a literal giant walked into your house, even if they tiptoed, they would cause an earthquake. It's not their fault. It's just their size to your apartment ratio.
No, you're right. Okay, so the elephant is in there. It got in very quietly. It got in through your door. It got in within seconds. Are we just going to assume that Tim Allen's Santa Claus is how they made it in through your radiator or through your hose and just kind of sucked themselves up?
Are we now... This is very important. I'm going to make this jump, and you're going to have to go on this journey with me. Are we now implying that Santa Claus is an elephant?
Yes.
I'm so glad we cleared that up so quickly.
I'm glad we got that elephant out of the room. That sounds good.
As soon as we acknowledge that the elephant is Santa Claus, he will happily be on his way.
Yeah.
To answer the question that we were given, how did the elephant get in the room? The answer is because it's Christmas.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that about sums it up. You know, I think right about now would be a good time to stop at our halfway mark to just make a couple shout-outs and bump-ins for what we're doing here. I just really quick wanted to say, once again, as of last week, we are on Spotify, which is awesome, fantastic, so glad, especially with all of us other college-age students, which mostly use Spotify for pretty much everything. I only got Apple Podcasts specifically to listen to podcasts because it's a little bit faster than Spotify usually at uploading. But yeah, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube is where you can find us all at right now.
Also, if you have any questions that you actually want to ask us, because we're answering questions that are sent in to us, you can email us your questions at saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com. That is saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com, where we will happily get your questions and read your questions and answer them on the podcast. Also, if you happen to have a Twitter or Instagram, we have a Twitter handle and Instagram handle that is the exact same. It is Zane and Will at both of those. And then you can also use the hashtag SaveYourBacon or hashtag Zane and Will, and you can comment anything you want. You can ask us questions using those or whatever. It just makes it quicker and easier for us to find you. We appreciate anybody that sends anything in because we love seeing people are actually interacting with the show because the entire show revolves around people interacting with it.
Yeah, if we didn't have people sending in questions, we couldn't give any advice. So please keep sending them in. Please, please, please. We need it. We love it. Like exactly what Zane said. That's exactly it. And also, just once again, we're just so happy to be here. We have been seeing steady increases in our downloads over just these last 3 episodes we released. We can't wait to see what happens with this one and continuing forward since we are going to continue doing this on a weekly basis. Once again, that's Monday mornings, I think at 6 a.m. Is it, Zane? Yeah, that it gets released.
6 a.m. Eastern.
6 a.m. Eastern time is when this podcast gets released. Mondays, every single Monday, we will be putting this out for you. We have no plans on postponing anything or doing anything different. So continue to check us out, subscribe, and you'll get notifications for when we get new stuff out there. So thank you so much, guys. Okay, so I have a question here. This is once again from Annie Wagner, repeat offender, sending us in questions. So username Nick, sent in by Annie, says, my nose piercing is not infected, but it looks infected. It's in the 2-month healing process. Okay.
Ooh.
How do I get people to stop asking me if it is infected? Question mark, question mark. How do I get people to stop asking me if it is infected? Nick, is it infected?
This is very important. Is it infected?
Because you said it looks infected.
You said it looks infected. So if I saw it and it looked infected, like, I would walk up to you and be like, hey, man, is your nose infected?
Are you sure that's not infected?
Are we positive that your nose is not infected?
Because I get how you can't see your entire nose from where you stand, considering it's on your face. There are a lot of things that I'm really happy that people point out on my face because really I can't see what's on my face. Mirrors can be an aid in that process, but
yeah.
I don't trust them.
They're not the end all be all, you know? You can't trust if you're looking at yourself, you can't trust that you're seeing what other people see.
Do you ever sit up at night, Zane, and just think about the fact that you've never seen your face firsthand?
Sometimes. I also think about whether or not this guy's nose might be infected or not. Because now I'm thinking I wake up at night and I touch my nose and I think, that hurts a little bit. Wait a minute.
Is it infected?
Is it infected? Wait a minute. Is Nick's nose infected?
What do you think about males getting nose piercings?
I usually think that they're totally fine. But during the 2-month healing process, if they start to look a bit infected, then I start to question it, you know? And that's why I want to know if Nick's nose piercing is infected, because we're just looking out for you. But if it's infected, is it infected? Because you haven't answered our question yet, and I'm starting to get really concerned.
Yeah, Nick, is it infected?
I'm sitting here waiting for an answer, and I know you can hear me, and I know that you want to answer, but I gotta know.
Nick, give us a shout out. Let us know if it's infected. I'm assuming since Annie sent this out to you asked her to send it to us, that she probably thinks it's infected too. Annie, send us out. Do you think it's infected? You probably do. You know better. Nick, it was probably pretty painful when you got it, and so you just kind of expected some pain throughout the whole thing. But if it just keeps hurting, and if it like swells up and gets all bulbous or whatnot, it might just be infected, man.
I've heard that if it hurts, it might be infected, and that's it. Yeah, that's what I've heard through the rumor mill.
But the question is, how do I get people to stop asking me? What did he say? What's so funny? How do I get people to stop asking me if it's infected? Here's my tip to you if you want to get people to stop asking you if it's infected. You could write a little Post-it note right where your mustache goes, and it says not infected.
And people will look at the Post-it because they'll look at your nose first, and they'll see, oh, is that and then right below they'll see not infected. They'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for answering my question. And they won't even ask it anymore, and they'll have their answer. That's actually the perfect solution to throw out there. Well, I'm going to throw out another one, and it is you got to carry around an LED light symbol around your neck that says, hi, my name is Nick. I love to shower, and I love going through apple picking places. Not picking the apples, but just thinking about picking them. Also, don't look at my nose. Why'd you look at my nose? I promise it's not infected. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Love you.
So it's kind of like Flavor Flav if he, instead of having a large clock around his neck, had a full novel.
The whole thing. Correct? A whole good compilation
just a good large body paragraph around his neck.
Because what this does, it's important to know that you're wearing this not for the people that know you, but for everybody on the street. So when people see you on the street and you press it, people will be like, oh, your name's Nick. Oh, cool. Oh, good. You shower? Good to know you're clean. Oh, you kind of like apples? That's interesting. Wait, what? Don't look at your nose. Oh my gosh, is that... Oh, no, okay. Thanks for answering my question. Love you too, because you gotta say you love them, because everybody in the world's gotta love everybody. Love everybody is my motto. Everyone love everyone.
Everyone love everyone. What was her motto from the beginning of? Just keep prancing. Keep prancing.
Just keep prancing, and everyone love everyone.
Yeah.
Here's the real motto in full. If everyone keep prancing, then everyone love everyone.
Yeah, if everyone keep prancing, then everyone love everyone. That's not going to be the title of our episode. I know you were looking to do that. You're like, how could I make a dumb phrase to put as the title of our episode?
It's staying in the
you're
episode
not gonna
anyway.
get away with it. It can stay in the episode, but you're not going to get a title out of it. Last piece of advice. If you want people to stop asking you is infected, get it so that it isn't infected anymore.
That's very important.
Start cleaning it or just check into different metals you might be allergic to. I hear that's a big one.
I've also heard that people in general, when they think it's infected, if people ask if it's infected, it infects it more because of their infectious behavior.
Okay, last question here. I want to ask. This one's actually from Annie Wagner. Thank you, Annie Wagner, again.
Thank
Not
you.
just the surrogate question asking via Nick. This is actually from Annie, and she asks, okay, real question here, : I have a super bad FOMO. Do you know what FOMO is?
I don't.
You know, okay, so for those of you who don't know what FOMO is an acronym, F.O.M.O, that stands for fear of missing out. And it's just a state of being. People either have low or high amounts of FOMO, and it decides how much they're afraid of missing out on things. It's pretty basic, right?
Okay.
I have super bad FOMO to the point where I will ignore all of my responsibilities to hang out with people and cry. That's cry with 5 Y's. If I feel left out. Just kidding, I don't cry.
Oh, you got me.
You got me. Fooled me there. How do I change my FOMO to no FOMO? Thank you, Annie.
So we're trying to figure out how to no FOMO this.
How to go from FOMO to no FOMO.
FOMO to no FOMO.
She's told me about it before. I'm not surprised to get this question at all. So I want to bring it to you, Zane. If somebody has bad FOMO, if they have an extreme fear of missing out, how do you help them?
Can I upsettingly say I do the same thing? So I'm
You
not
do the same
best.
thing?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have a bunch of homework and a test to study for and whatnot, but also this movie just came out and 2 of my friends want to see it. I will go see the movie.
That is the lamest thing. Why do we always get a question that's like this?
It's just you. Of course, you don't want to miss out on opportunity. Why do you think I film everything? I don't want to miss something.
Zane does film everything. Every single day, Zane puts out a comedy sketch. Every single day.
One went out today, yeah.
Yeah, I know, and that's not even me trying to plug you. It's just like a crazy fact that every single day you put it out because you videotape so much of your life.
The real way that you handle this situation is you push FOMO to its extreme. It's engraved in your skin now. You are as FOMO as possible. And I'm not saying it's a fear now. I'm saying it's an adrenaline rush. You are at this point of, I'm the thrill of my life is never missing out on anything. So what you do, you push its boundaries. You never leave your friend's side. You're there 24/7. Even if they try to get away, you've got webcams set up around the house. So you never have to miss them visually. You've got the little lavalier mics, the shirt mics set up on them so that you can hear everything that they say. You've now hired a whole crew to follow them around in a van and spy on them, etc. Now, it might sound creepy, it might sound weird. I get it. But you know what? That's the risk you gotta take with FOMO. Because when you got FOMO, you gotta know what's going down. If you don't know what's going down, if you're not willing to push it this far, are you really that afraid of missing out?
Dang, speak it. Even to go one step further, I would say that if you're actually committed, you hire an Annie Wagner lookalike to do all the things that you wouldn't, that you are okay with missing out on, but you still need to get done. Hire an Annie Wagner lookalike, do all the things that you would normally do if you weren't suffering from FOMO.
I know the exact place to get this lookalike. And that sounds amazingly weird, but that's what FOMO has led me to. There's this place up in the mountains in Australia. You may have heard of it. It has no name. When you get up there, it's...
What?
When you get up there, there will be a wise man with a good curly bar handle mustache. What he will look at you and say is, have you found a reason to be afraid of missing out? And you say, I'm so afraid that I even came here because who knows what's going on back home. The second you say that, he will show you a hat and he'll say, do you recognize this hat? And this is a real thing. This sounds a lot like the last thing I did. Don't worry, I'm not putting music in the background on this one. He'll show you a hat, and if you say, I recognize that hat, and then he throws it away and pulls out another hat, and you say, that's the same hat, then he'll know that you believe in cloning. It's a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
This is a real thing in Australia. It's up in the mountain, and you know the name of it because it has no name. And you go there, and you will learn...
What do you do before we get on Skype calls that makes you this way?
I wake up. No, you go you go to this place, you get cloned, you can have as many as you want, they're all free. The only price to pay is your own personal debt of how you'll feel about the guilt of having a version of you die off in a horrendous Annie Wagner task situation. Like if you went to do laundry and one of them didn't realize they're not supposed to put themselves in the washing machine.
Yeah. I also liked what you were going on earlier with just like the idea of don't make it into a fear, make it into like an adrenaline rush. Stop viewing this fear of missing out as like this fear and start viewing it as some positive thing in order to like reach the greatest potential of all the things you have to experience in life, you know? You're just trying to make the best out of every day. You don't really need laundry that bad.
If you want a serious answer, yeah, the fear of missing out really is just the fear of you're not doing enough at the time and place that you're at. And like, oh, I could be out, just a mundane activity of whatever, like, oh, I could go run around the park or whatnot and be active, but I'm not doing this. Or if you wanted to be like, oh, I've never tried hang gliding, but I'm too afraid, but at the same time, what am I missing out on? But to me, cloning is an adrenaline rush for me.
Yeah.
I've done it quite a few times.
I'm glad we keep on going back to cloning.
I've done it quite a few times. You know at least 3 of my clones because they've done the other 3 episodes of this podcast so far.
Yeah. So, Annie, I'm going to give you a new acronym to identify your FOMO as. What should we name the new FOMO that is not fear of missing out, but should it be adrenaline rush to do everything? That doesn't make a very good acronym.
Adrenaline rush sustains everything.
Yep, that's it. Well, thank you so much, guys. You have completed yet again for the 4th time, for the 4th time, an episode of our beautiful podcast. We are so glad to be here. So glad that you have been listening. Thanks for all the support we've gotten so far. We're so happy to be here. Any closing remarks, Zane?
Just make sure if you have any questions that you want to ask us, go ahead and send that to saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com because that's probably where we'll find them the easiest. Thank you so much for interacting with us because the questions that you guys send to us are the best questions of all time because it's just so much fun answering stuff that we know. People that are listening to the podcast will hear their questions pop up and be like, oh my god, that's me! And then be like, why the hell did Zane just have a 3-minute rant about cloning? That didn't answer my question.
Hey, we think we're helping. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. My name's Will.
My name is Zane.
This is Save Your Bacon. Have a fantastic week. See you next Monday, guys.